Ready? We have a great show for you guys today. Right, Sean?
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, what are you doing?
And I'm so happy I'm not a girl.
I almost cracked up when you said it like that.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Maria Tomlinson.
And I'm Sean Thompson.
Welcome to this Friday's edition of Concordia Reports. We have a great show in store for you guys today. Right, Sean?
Right. At first, there's something creeping up on the city of Montreal. Some kind of disease that makes you want to crave human brains. Our reporter, Ziona Eob, has the story.
Mike, Jean-Raphael, and Q are zombies every Halloween. But what about the other days of the year?
I'm a cook.
My day job is a cook, just like Mike. Been 12 years since I did that, and I look forward to be a children educator.
I'm a promoter. I'm also a student.
This team of three is organizing their third Montreal Zombie Walk on October 31st. But what is it exactly?
Pacific manifestations of people just walking the street dressed up as zombies and in a character, grunting like zombies and acting like some zombies.
But if you want to join these zombies, you've got to follow their rules.
Stay on the sidewalk. Don't just for the traffic. You don't have to disturb the traffic, and like above all, don't do some problems. You know.
I'm seeing a fucking zombie walk.
Most of the time, people's reactions are good, but not always.
Actually, a couple of people, when we were screaming, like on St. Catherine in the village when it was closed, that thought we were like Nazis grouping together.
I think was that girl who was hiding behind his boyfriend, and she was really afraid, and her boyfriend was like, no, you don't have to be afraid, don't bother. But
While zombie fans are attracted to aggressive-looking props and films, Jean-Raphael doesn't think that makes him violent.
I really can assure you it's not true. I'm the less violent people in the world. Like horror filmmakers, or I saw a documentary last year, I think, and it really proves us that there are non-violent people.
In the documentary Zombie Mania, victims of zombie attacks become zombies themselves. They become a walking disease that multiplies itself until no one is safe. Even though Mike loves zombie flicks, getting dressed up is where the real fun is at.
I think it's more my love for arts and makeup and getting dressed up and, you know, things like that.
While these zombies may have the walk and talk down, they don't quite have the moves.
But I'm not sure.
For Concordia Reports, I'm Ziona Eob, downtown Montreal.
Want more
I totally want to be a zombie.
vampire zombies?
Zombies.
Want more zombies? Well, the Spasm Festival kicked off yesterday and will be running till the 31st of October. We spoke to the organizer to find out more about it.
The Spasm Festival is a film festival dedicated to genre films. And this year is the 8th edition.
Back for more gore.
The Spasm Festival is dedicated 100% to Quebec movies.
Pourquoi tu m'as fait peur comme un cave? Ça te tentait pas de venir me parler avant? T'es pas dans la douche avec moi, là?
This year, there's a lot of movies. We have, well, I could talk about the opening film. It's called Bikini Girls on Ice by Jeff Klein. It's a full-length feature, horror movie, which is, I think, is awesome. More like a B-movie style. A bunch of girls on a soccer team have a car wash in bikinis, obviously, to get some money for their soccer team. And on their way there, the bus breaks down, and obviously everything goes to hell. And we also have Crawler, which is a bit of like another horror movie, but with a possessed bulldozer.
Are you kidding me? Look at this thing. You're one ugly machine.
Spas, there's also movies, and there's also a show on stage between the movies, which is what makes us different than other festivals.
What kind of show?
Well, the Cabaret Trash is hosted by drag queens that put on a show. The Big Horror Night is actually hosted by Inspector Bronco, which is a bit like Inspector Clouseau meets James Bond. And it's sketches on stage, lots of costumes, lots of stunts and stuff, and all the sound is pre-recorded. So it's like a movie, a bit like it's a mix between a play and film, since they're live actors, but all the sound and sound effects have been pre-recorded before, so it gives this weird effect. So that's a bit of a glimpse of what we do.
I wonder what our reporters have been up to this week, Sean. That I want to be a vampire.
Reading Twilight. Twilight. Huge success. For some people, they can't really tell what is reality and what is fiction. I'm happy I'm not a guy, because now it's getting very hard for guys to live up to the standards of vampires. Our reporter, Sidika Falzar, has more.
You might remember Buffy, who slayed vampires. Now meet Bella, who chooses to date them.
You are.
She's the protagonist in the popular novel-turned-movie, Twilight. The book itself has sold over 70 million copies worldwide, and it's become a hit with young women like Jasmine Chiang. She even tells her guy friends to be more like Edward Cullen, who is Bella's vampire boyfriend.
I was talking to one of my guy friends, and I was like, "You're such a jerk. Why can't you be more like Edward?" And it just comes out because, you know, after we read Twilight, we just have this perfect image of how a man should be. That's how Edward was portrayed in the book.
Jasmine is not the only Twilight fan that now has this perfect image of what a man should be. On one Facebook group page called Damn It Edward Cullen and I'll Never Find a Man, about 7,600 members say they have higher expectations of men because of the vampire heartthrob. And there's another page where fans declare that because of Edward Cullen, human boys have lost their charm. This group has nearly 165,000 members. So what's with this attraction to a fictional vampire? I asked Dr. Beverly Best. She's a sociology professor with an expertise in popular culture.
Young women's celebrity heroes and celebrity crushes and heartthrobs are, you know, letting them down thanks to, you know, the intensive, relentless scrutiny of TMZ and all those other, you know, magazines. Maybe they're just looking a bit too human. Human is just really disappointing at the end of the day.
It's like diamonds.
There's certainly nothing human about Edward. But it's not just his immortality that makes him attractive to Twilight fans.
You're beautiful. And he's a nice person, he's very caring, he's very protective. And I think these are all traits that every woman look in a man. You know, someone that will take care of you and will protect you if you're in danger. That's what really, for me, was like Edward.
Which is why Jasmine loves to read the book. For Concordia Reports, I'm Sidika Falzar in downtown Montreal.
Here's what's coming up in the next half of the show.
Well, October is not only about Halloween.
There's also the Indigenous Sovereignty Week, which kicks off this Sunday. One of the events planned is a movie screening at Concordia. Cinema Politica is a Montreal-based, not-for-profit organization that screens independent, alternative films. This coming Monday, Concordia Cinema Politica will be screening The Experimental Eskimos. The documentary tells the story of 3 Inuit boys who were forced to leave their families for a government experiment.
Actually told this is what's going to happen with your son.
Thought that my training, the education that I had received, should be harnessed in the service of my people. Every one of us struggled with negative things, dysfunctions in our lives that have been
The screening will take place October 26th in the Hall Building, room 110 at 7:30.
521. That's the official number of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada.
But for one family in Ganawage, only one of these girls matters. Jill Kessler-Damore has the story.
Traditional Native song and drums kicked off the 4th annual Sisters in Spirit March earlier this month. Hundreds walked through Montreal to draw attention to the ever-increasing number of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada. But for Melanie Morrison and her family, the issue hits much closer to home.
She'd always tell my mother when she was coming back or where she would be, and if anything changed, she'd call to let her daughter know, okay, well, I'm not going to be back tonight, I'll be back in the morning, or leave a number where my mother can reach her in case anything happens, and then this time nothing.
Tiffany Morrison was last seen on Friday, June 16, 2006. The 25-year-old lived on the Ganawage Mohawk Reserve, 20 minutes southwest of Montreal, with her mother and young daughter. She was seen leaving the Hareki bar in LaSalle in a cab the night she disappeared. She left with a man from Ganawage.
The last night she was seen in the bar, someone recognized the person she was with, and we've contacted that person. And they're a resident of Ganawage, and they're our prime suspect, obviously.
Stacy explained that while the suspect gave a statement to police, he refused to take a lie detector test. In his version of events, the taxi got off the Mercier Bridge, dropped him off first, and then continued on to Tiffany's house. But there's still no telling for sure what happened.
Some people have came forward and spoke, but not as many as I thought would have. There is somebody obviously out there that knows what happened to her, but no one's came forward with any solid information.
Many taxi drivers who go into Ganawage don't call in their fares and pocket the money instead. Because of this common practice, there is no way to trace which driver or taxi company dropped Tiffany off.
I wish that something had stopped her from going out that night, or she would have called home and asked somebody to come get her instead, or waited for a town taxi. You know, they might be slow, but at least they're safe.
The Ganawage peacekeepers have sent divers into the local waterway and dogs through the reserve's many wooded areas, but so far there has been no trace of Tiffany. And as the days and months go by, the small community is slowly realizing that something serious has happened to one of its own.
I believe that it would have never came to this and lasted this long in a small community like this. Ideally, I'd like to find her, dead or alive, and have closure for the family. I wouldn't want to be in that situation, wondering and playing in your mind all the time where she is.
Melanie describes her sister as funny, joyful, and full of life. And she says that since her disappearance, something is missing.
She was always so energetic. I mean, like, I got tired watching her. And now when you go there, it's more, I don't know, there's something missing. You know, everybody's like, kind of like on eggshells around each other. It's not the same. You can tell there's something missing.
After almost 4 years since Tiffany disappeared, Melanie says that the most important thing now is to get some closure, especially for her parents.
They know the reality, the most likely scenario, but there's always that one little sliver of hope that she might just walk back through that door. Hopefully whoever did this, you know, grows a heart and lets them get her back before they pass.
And for Melanie herself, the toughest part is realizing that she and her daughters will likely never see Tiffany again.
And all of a sudden, my daughter will be flipping through the photo album and that, and she's like, oh, that's Auntie Tiffany. She goes, we're going to find her, we're going to bring her home. And it just like wants to make you cry, you know, and like, because deep down I know my daughter's never going to see her again.
For Concordia Reports, I'm Jillian Kessler-Demore.
Trash worth something? Are we gonna do the cheesy thing where we're throwing something in the garbage? Sean, don't you know you're throwing away your money?
Money? It's trash.
But your trash could be worth something.
A trash that has value.
Our reporter François Lemieux has more.
The Peter McGill Eco-Quartier crews have planned for the downtown. They want to make the block between Saint-Marc, Sainte-Catherine, de Maisonneuve and Saint-Mathieu as sustainable as possible. The plan has been dubbed Quarter 21. One of the initiatives is to collect organic waste and to turn it into compost. The crew at Eco-Quartier has set up a deposit box in an alleyway of the quarter where participants can drop off their organic waste. When the waste turns into compost, participants are given some compost to grow vegetables on their balconies. Caroline Vallière is responsible for the project. She says composting is a great way to be ecologically efficient.
On considère que dans nos poubelles, on peut retrouver jusqu'à 60% de matière organique qu'on peut valoriser. Donc, en compostant le plus possible, on réduit considérablement notre grosseur de poubelle.
Eco-Quartier coordinator Antoine Troxler says being able to cut back on the amount of waste produced has many businesses interested in a composting plan.
Residential Montrealers don't pay relative to the quantity of waste they emit. You know, if they put out 10 garbage bags for a household in a week, they'll take the garbage bags and they won't do anything about it. Businesses, it's another thing. They have to pay the containers, they have to pay the pickup, they have to pay everything. So when you give them a solution to reduce the amount of waste they produce, then the economics comes into play. And that.
So far, there are 35 participants in the project, both residential and commercial. But is the downtown the right place to compost? Michel Sequin lives near Quarter 21. He grows vegetables with seeds provided by Eco-Quartier, but he does not want to use compost. He says tall apartment buildings which are legion near Quarter 21 are not appropriate place to compost.
Le compost, c'est très difficile lorsqu'on habite un immeuble de 22 étages au niveau de l'achalandage des ascenseurs et puis le bac pour le compostage est complètement à l'extérieur. Donc, à très court terme, on est obligé de garder les produits à composter sur le balcon et ça favorise l'attrait pour les insectes.
Nonetheless, Eco-Quartier's plan is to keep on pushing ahead with their composting project. The next step should be to acquire a composting cylinder similar to Concordia's own when the funding is available. Whatever the difficulties, you can count on Eco-Quartier to keep up the fight for a more sustainable environment in a downtown near you. I'm François Lemieux for Concordia Reports.
Psst. Hey, are you afraid of H1N1? Do you think you have it? Well, I wanted to know what it feels like. For a day, I dressed up in the full H1N1 protection bodysuit, as it is recommended by the World Health Organization. And this is a kind of fashion that doesn't go unnoticed. But I decided to go where it really matters. With the help of a friend, I managed to get these images with a hidden camera. And we brought it in during my medical examination. So H1N1, a pandemic? Really? I think it's more of an implanted paranoia to get people distracted from what really is.
And I'm so happy I'm not a girl.
I love you. Oh no.
That was gay. Let's do another one.
That was what?
Diamond ring, cha-cha, holiday sun, a PQ.
They're creatures from a nightmare. But for some girls, they're knights in shining armors.
Oh, that's kind of cute. Kinda.
For some losers.
Planet Earth presents you big money.
Anyway, she's gonna use what she wants.
Big system.